Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about learning Japanese. I'm going to tell you how I learned Japanese and I'm still continuing to learn Japanese, and what the best ways are to start learning Japanese, in my opinion. Because everyone is very individual and different techniques might work for different people. The first thing that's essential, in my opinion, to learn Japanese and to learn any language for that matter is something that you already have because you clicked on this video, and that's passion. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Passion is so important for learning a language. If you want to learn, if you actually have the passion for the language and passion to learn the language, that's the first step. That's why, in my opinion, it's really difficult to learn a language at school, because a lot of students are forced to learn a language. They never really develop an interest in learning it, and so they feel like they can't do it, or they're stupid, or whatever. But the true reason is just that they don't want to learn it. Like, they don't have the passion to learn it. They don't put a lot of effort into it most of the time. So first step, passion. You already have that. Japanese is really difficult to learn in the beginning because, unlike a Western language, a European language, you don't have the alphabet. Japanese is constructed of three alphabets, really, if you want to call it that way. Two of them are like syllable alphabets, and the third one are the kanji, so the Chinese characters that were imported from China. And I used a lot. So we have hiragana, katakana, and kanji. The first step is to learn both syllable alphabets, hiragana and katakana. And this isn't essential. Like, you might want to jump straight into it and learn words or learn whatever. And some people start learning that way. They start learning with the romaji, like using the Western alphabet to learn Japanese words. But I think it's really important to start with learning the syllable languages, the syllable alphabets, so that you can, that's like the first thing you do, and you will always have that in your head. Now, I can't give you specific tips on how to learn it. Everyone is different, but just print them out, I would say. Yeah, print out the hiragana, print out the katakana, and look at them, try to copy them, and try over and over and over again. Like, copy, as if you were in elementary school and you're learning the alphabet. You know how you used to have like these things that you would have to trace to learn the letters? Just do that. Just do it over and over again until you feel like they look similar to the ones that you printed out. And then to actually memorize them, I would go through rows, basically. So you have like a, I, u, e, o, sa, si, su, se, so, and so on. And I would just like memorize it as if it was a line. Learn, like, so what comes after a, the next one is the sa row, and then the next one is the ta row, or like whatever. And that way you can remind yourself, and just try to put the prints aside, try to write them down. And if you forget one, just look it up and then write it down like 50 times, and then it's in your head. And if you forget another one, do the same. Do it until you can write them all by memory. You don't need the prints anymore. You can just write them down. And if you don't continue using them, you will forget them again. So just do it maybe once a day or once a week, or whatever you feel is best for you. So yes, that was the first step. And then the second step is, that's how I started learning. I just ordered a book online, like a normal book to learn Japanese. Now, there are many out there, but for me, I started with Minna no Nihongo, and I still feel it's quite a good book for beginners. It just starts like you learn any other language. It starts with the basics, it starts with vocabulary, and then it also starts to gradually introduce some simple kanji. And I would recommend getting a separate book for kanji. Kanji for beginners or something, where you have 200 kanji in a book and you can look at them, you can learn the readings and how to write them. And if you want to, I can make another video on kanji, because to be honest, that deserves like a whole other video, because it's quite complicated with all the different readings, and if you combine it in a different way, the readings change, and that's the part that I struggle the most with still. Once you have the book, just work your way through it and just control, like check yourself, you know if you learned something or not. If you can remember it, you learned it. If you didn't, then you have to go over it again. And definitely buy something that has like an audio CD with it, because you will want to get the pronunciation of the syllables and words right from the beginning. And that's another point that I would recommend. Like, no matter which level of Japanese you're at right now, even if you're a complete beginner, what I did a lot was watch Japanese dramas with English subtitles. And I would look at the subtitles to understand what they were saying. Even though I couldn't distinguish the words, like, I still absorbed the flow of the language. And this is really important, because it's like muscle memory. You will remember. The more you listen to Japanese, the more you will be able to sound more native, have less of an accent. And I think a lot of you probably will want to get rid of their accents, which is like understandable. So I would recommend listening to a lot of Japanese, and not like music, because that sounds different again, but really listen to people talk. Maybe you have like a friend that you can talk to, and if you're not at that level yet, just like watch a lot of Japanese TV or Japanese drama, whatever. Like, it's easily accessible through YouTube. These are like my top tips that I would give you if you're just beginning to learn the language. I will just, if you're a beginner, you can stop now and just start doing that, like give your best, and if you're a little bit more advanced, then I'm just going to tell you how I moved on from Minna no Nihongo. After that, I continued with a book. Well, I did Minna no Nihongo 1 and Minna no Nihongo 2. And then I continued with a book called Tobira. And this one is structured quite differently, and it's more difficult. There are longer texts in there, so you can improve your reading skills, your understanding of texts, and the vocabulary also got a bit more difficult and complex. Yeah, when you're at that point, I think just experiment. Like, you can basically do anything. You definitely should have access to a Japanese dictionary. Japanese English, Japanese German, whatever. If you're looking for a Japanese German dictionary, I recommend Wadoku. I will link it down below. And there are also like loads of dictionary apps that you can just download on your phone. And you can just experiment. You can try watching dramas without subtitles. You can try watching Japanese TV. You can try reading. You can try reading a newspaper article. Like, you will have to look up every third or fourth word, but it's worth it just to improve your vocabulary skills and just get an idea of how writing is different from speaking as well. Like, there are a lot of different words and expressions that are used in written form, like in an academic text or a newspaper article, than if you would just be speaking to someone. And then if you want to test your skills, I recommend studying with these books. They are one of the official books to study for the Nihongo no Ryoku Shiken, so like the Japanese language proficiency test. I'm studying for N2 right now, but they have it from N1 to N5, so whichever level you think you're at, you can buy them and study for the official test. It's really helpful for me. I can like talk Japanese in everyday conversation, I can read like texts and stuff, but then they have specific requirements for those Japanese language proficiency tests. So if you don't buy these books, you might not be able to, you might not know the vocabulary that they request or require, or the kanji or whatever. So I'm always buying the vocabulary, the grammar, and the kanji versions of these books. They also have a reading comprehension and a listening comprehension, but for me this is like the essential stuff, and it's not that expensive. You can order them online. And I would also recommend always not only looking at them, but always writing stuff writing stuff down. So I always write down the vocabulary that I don't know, and important grammar points and stuff. So that's the first step for me to actually take it in, process it for the first time, and when I go over it again, that's then the second step, and so on. Japanese might be a difficult language to get into, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. It's a beautiful language, it's so interesting, and you can absolutely do it. Just don't give up, and if you're a complete beginner, just start somewhere. Start with the hiragana and katakana, and I promise you will see results if you stick with it. And I hope this video helped you a little bit, whichever level of Japanese you were at. Obviously, I'm not perfect either. I'm not a Japanese teacher. I'm still learning Japanese. As you saw, I'm studying for the Japanese language proficiency test. So these are just my personal tips that I found useful, and I hope that they work for you as well. If there is anything that you would like me to do a video on concerning Japanese, let me know, and I will see what I can do. Alright, so good luck with your Japanese studies, and I will see you in the next video.